Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to Stationeers episode 7. So, last episode I started laying out the sort of foundations for my little Lincoln log Martian cabin here. That's not literally what it will be. This episode I am going to continue the layout. So the next level up is going to be a lounge area. We're not going to have to really add very much to the lounge. It will stand on its own. And then the top layer is going to be our beautiful farm. So I'm going to start to lay out the frames for the farm. And again, what we will be doing here is... I think actually what we could do is to set it up like this. I'm going to get rid of some frames that we no longer need. So this frame here, for instance, we don't really need. Nor do we need this one. So let's go ahead and drop those and then get rid of the frame entirely. These can be windows as well. The core of the base is a 3x3, as you can see. Oh, maybe you can't see. I can't see either. The core of the base is somewhat of a 3x3 with a bumped out area for the elevator. On the bottom floor, it indents a little bit here so that we have access to the extra tanks. But on higher floors, we don't really need that real estate space anymore. So we can go and do without it. And that way we also get a little bit of sunlight on the top floor, or on the bottom floor from above. The middle floor here is not going to have any skylights, but that's okay. In fact, we could actually purposely make a skylight. We will just leave a gap in the ceiling. And that is not a terrible concept to have throughout the base, so I will continue that, having yet another gap. And that way we can have a continuous skylight. I don't know, it will be an interesting little donut base. So our top floor, once again, as I said, will be hydroponics. It needs the most sunlight, and we are going to need yet one more elevator shaft in order to complete this. But before I do that, let's go ahead and weld these in place so we can stand on them. So what I'm trying to do is have equal amounts of form and function, ideally. I might be missing the mark. As I mentioned last episode, I am no artist. I am just a simple base maker, but I will do my best to have this be somewhat of an attractive base. So we'll add windows here where we cut out parts of our frame and ceiling. And of course, everything is going to need to get glassed up eventually. There we go. That's a little bit different. So, just a little reminder, the atmospheres will be bottom floor, and then second floor will be the lounge, like furniture and food, storage and stuff like that. And then the top floor will be hydroponics. And this is what the base will look like from a distance. So let's go ahead and get one more elevator going out here. We have plenty of material to do just that. Swell. And let's have it be an elevator level. Then additionally, I mentioned that the elevator isn't exactly airtight. So what I want to do is to make it airtight. And I'm not going to ruin the views that I have while we climb in this elevator. So instead of putting walls here to keep it airtight, I will put windows. The back will be airtight, and the back is going to need data and power as well. That also means that I need to crank out some additional walls. Let's go ahead and turn off this arc furnace, and we are going to move our steel from this printer over to the auto lathe. And will print out some walls. All the other metals I can just keep here for now. I don't exactly need to place them. We're also going to need some plastics. I'm going to take a look. I think we're also going to need some electrum. The thing is, at present, we're going to need to degas and cool off the furnace. So let's go ahead and do just that. We're going to need a passive vent. I can just as easily passively vent the furnace out to atmosphere. An active furnace, or active vent rather, would do it a little bit faster, but would require power. I don't really care how fast it goes. It's not like we do a lot of smelting. So we're going to turn the valve on. As you can see, there will be a lot of gas coming out of that vent, and the pressure and temperature of this is going to drop. Keep in mind the temperature, of course, is in Kelvin and not Celsius, so it's not going to look quite as it's not quite as hot as it at first appears. Okay, now that we have some wall units, we will turn them into windows and window up our elevator shaft. And then this is the top floor. This is where our farms are going to go. I will add some windows up here as well. And this is going to be one nice little dome. I really wish you could have like geodesic styled domes. You can't. Not yet, at least. Knock on wood, maybe that will change. But we'll put some domes up there. Alright, our furnace is now basically ambient temperature, so I'm going to close that valve. And it will be ready for some additional stoking soon. My suit battery is getting down to medium, so I'll do a quick hot swap. And as I mentioned, my starter little farm here is generating enough power and generating enough food that I easily sustain myself. I haven't really measured how many people this could sustain, but needless to say, it would be a lot. If you're playing multiplayer, my little starter base could even fit more food if I really wanted to, and it could probably sustain, I don't know, at least 5 players or so, probably more. And that's 5 players like concurrently all playing at once. It's kind of a lot, right? Alright, so there is the little dome at the top, and the reason why I'm building all the way up to the top immediately, partially is because I want to, alright, let's make some plastic sheets. I want to then also plan out my solar power. Because we are going to want to have our own dedicated solar power here. So the idea here is if we have an open spot here, we'll probably have probably windows that go all the way down. And that way we have somewhat of a weird tube in the middle of our base. I don't know. It seems strange, yes, I know, but I don't know. It's a design idea. It might not make all that much sense, but it doesn't really need to. It's for looks. Alright, we cranked out a bunch of plastic sheets with the silicon that I smelted recently. And this will allow us to start sheeting up our windows. I'm going to sheet up the elevator windows first. And we can actually, because these parts of the elevator are actually physically impassable, we can actually add glass to them, because it's not like we could ever move through them. I'm waiting to add glass to everything else so that I can very easily enter and exit this construction project. You know, you don't work on the insides of a house, or rather, you know, you want to leave some doors open, move some furniture, or walls open, move some furniture around. I don't know. So this is going to be a very beautiful little farm at the top. This will allow us to plant way more plants than we need. And then some of the flooring here can have vents and things that lead back down to our atmospherics. Keep on cranking out some plastic sheeting. I'll just use the rest of the silicon we have to make the rest of the plastic sheeting. I'm going to build as much as I can now and not do any mining. So if we have solar power, my best guess is we are going to run our panels. Let's see, something like this. This way, when we keep it at this level, the sun doesn't get blocked by the solar power. And it is at max, or it's at sort of the highest height we have in our base, so that it generates the most power for us. So that's sort of the next thing, is to, the next thing I want to do is to sort of set up solar power for this new base. And I know it doesn't look like a base very much now, and this is not so much tutorial series anymore. This is sort of my designs. So let's go ahead and put away the rest of the plastic sheeting, and as I said, we can use some of the glass sheets to glass up at least the elevator here. And as I said, we are adding glass to it. We could add walls, but I think it's going to be nice to have a view as we use the elevator. The elevator is not extraordinarily fast. I mean, it's not snail pace. But if it has a little view, I mean, that's nice, right? Okay. And we can put the rest of the glass away, because I'm not going to need to use it anytime soon. So, what do we need? Let's see. I would like to probably set up an integrated circuit. So I think what we'll do is we'll have a token amount of solar power panels up top, which means, again, grabbing our steel from here and cranking out. Well, no, before we move the steel, that doesn't really help if the it's open. Before we move the steel, I want one more frame. And how many steel sheets do I have over here? That's my next question. We have 10? Okay, that's enough. So I will automate 3 solar power panels. And the solar power panels initially is just going to keep the proverbial lights on this new log cabin. So that's where these solar power panels are going to go. Nice and tall. The extra sheets we can put away. We're not going to need them. And then we are going to want to queue up some solar power panels, which is gold, copper, and iron, of which we have plenty. The solder here I don't know, put back into the auto lathe. Actually, we're going to need solder in a second. Alright, so those are my panels, 1, 2, 3. And then we are also going to grab our glass once again. Let's put these panels down. It's going to be a little hard to see what I'm doing, I know, during the nighttime here. And then what I'm going to do is to have the power that it generates face towards the base and the data port on the back. And we will construct these panels. 1, 2, and 3. Done. Put the rest of the glass away without smashing our suit. Looking good, looking good. Alright. The next thing I want to do is to build an APC, and this APC is going to be for controlling the logic behind the solar power panels. So Let's build a power controller. And this requires solder, which is why I put solder into this. And it's hard to believe that I'm really that low on iron. No, I have a ton of iron. It's just in my pipe bender. I put it there so that I could make the passive vent. Then next, I'm probably just going to scavenge a battery. Let's grab one out of our portable air scrubber, or portable air conditioner, rather. And we still yet have another small battery if we really need to scavenge. I'm going to be careful not smashing into this tower. Alright. So what I'm going to do is put one more frame up here, actually, before I set anything up. And this frame is going to help me set up the logic for the panel, or all the panels. And this will control every single panel that I add. So we'll need a steel frame. I already have steel sheets. Okay, looking good. I'm probably going to take that steel out of the auto lathe. And let's set up this frame and these sheets. And this little area here that I'm constructing now is awkward overhang, I get. But we can have it both control the elevator, power the elevator, and also power the solar power panels. Which would be nice, right? Having a working elevator, I'm sure interests some of you. Unlike a lot of projects in this game, the elevators are so unbelievably simple to make and control. It's flabbergasting. Alright, so let's pop this APC open. Stick our little battery in there, and I'm going to leave it off for now. The next thing I want to do is we're going to make our solar power panel with integrated circuits. So before I do that, what I'm going to need is a computer, which costs me gold, iron, and copper. As you can see, there's a theme here. But we'll put all the materials in. And this computer can just be set up right here. That's fine. And then we're going to want an integrated circuit chip, or actually housing. Integrated circuit housing first. Get that rolling out. Takes a little bit of time. And then a chip. And we're going to program a chip. So before we do that, we're also going to need to wire up this computer. Actually, I'm going to move this computer back a little bit. I don't want the data port combined with my power grid. I want to control what its data port is connected to. So it's far easier to do if it isn't merged so close. Okay, unfortunately, me chopping up the wires right then interrupted my IC housing. So that's a big oops. Oh well. You live and you learn. Alright, so this is almost printed up, 84%. It does take a little bit of time. There we go. There's the housing. And the housing allows us to program the chip that's inside of it with some code. Now we want a chip. And we're going to need to make electrum for that. So, this is why I emptied out my furnace. So electrum is, I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's pretty simple to make. Let's just do a 1-to-1 gold and silver in the furnace. And we'll make a stack of electrum. That means, of course, getting our mining belt out. Putting the mining belt on. Putting our tool belt away. Grabbing some oxites and volatiles. Making sure that the valve is closed. Plopping in the fuel. It goes kaboom. Gets real hot. Dropping in the gold. And then, or dropping in the silver first and then the gold. And it's just a 1-to-1 ratio. Real simple. Not a whole lot of measurement required. Now, electrum requires, let's see, a max pressure of 2400 kPa. And we are at a little bit higher than that. We're at 32 something. So I'm going to vent out briefly. Very briefly. Just a little bit more venting. Lowering the pressure here. And then, boom, electrum. Isn't it nice to have like a little venting slot? Alright, so now we have our electrum. We have solder and electrum made. And we're going to make an integrated circuit. Alright, I'm going to vent out the rest of the furnace because we're almost certainly going to have to restoke it. And while I'm standing here, we might as well go...
Power critical.
Oh, I never really switched the batteries. There we go. Switch them up. If we do it fast enough, or if we rather take it out of our suit first, we don't end up stopping manufacturing process. Which is good. We wouldn't want to. Alright, so we have the integrated circuit chip. Plop that in there. We're also going to need a motherboard here. Oops, nope, sorry. Motherboard. And we're going to make the IC editor. This is a little bit quicker. All right. And then additionally, we're going to need 2 sensors. And 2 memories and 2 input outputs. Whoa, hello sensor. Logic memory. Excuse me. All right, there we go. And 2 input outputs. Logic, what is it? I/O. Running low on copper here. Well, still have copper over there. So I should be okay for now. And I'll start putting things in my backpack. Oh, and I can put the soybeans away. I don't really need to carry them around. I don't need soybean oil or anything like that. Put these away so that if perhaps my backpack somehow gets lost or destroyed, it doesn't go bye-bye. Now before going any further, let's go ahead and cycle this so that we can do some farming. Oh yeah. Gotta get my farming on, right? Okay, so the farming here is, let's grab some potatoes. All the potatoes. And as you can see, it's pretty clear I am generating a lot of food and not really requiring it. I haven't eaten in a while. haven't had any prompt to eat. This farm here, obviously set up to be just efficient, but certainly not easy to manage the crops. As you can see, I'm like I don't really have a good line of sight as to what I'm doing. There's my corn and soybeans. And we know it's all healthy because immediately when I resow, it grows. I think I actually just destroyed some soybeans, but whatever. We have plenty. All right, let's cycle outside and put the excess food away. And voila, open up. And we'll put them back into organic storage. So soybeans and corn and potatoes. Now we have many more potatoes. Well, we have just about as much as we started with, but yet we're still growing. Let's see if I'm hungry. Nope. 100% hunger. Cool. All right. Now what I'm going to do is just a quick reminder of which way is north, because we're going to need to lay out some of the circuitry for the solar tracking. So the circuitry, let's put the memory and batch writers into place here. So we are going to use this area here to do it. So I'm going to put, let's see, one memory here and one batch writer here, and I'll just mirror it. One batch writer here and one memory here. Making sure my batch writer, yep, they're all aligned correctly. I'm going to need some more cabling for this as well. And then on top of that, we are going to need to put sensors down. So I'm going to need to put a sensor facing up with its port to the north. So if the rise is in the east, sets in the west, north is this way. So port to the north would look something like this. Is that true? Yeah, right? Because west, north, east, okay. And then we're going to need another port on the bottom, facing down, facing south. Like that. Perfect. All right. Now at this point, we're definitely going to need some more cabling. I need to put my mining belt away and swap with my tool belt. I know, I'm doing a lot of stuff and it's probably all kind of getting hard to follow. Let's go ahead and run the memories out to the... Well, let's basically network all of this together, is pretty much what I'm going to do next. Making sure they all become interconnected. And I'm almost certainly going to run out of cabling doing this. That's fine, to be expected. Go ahead and manufacture some more cabling in just a minute. Actually, that needs to be a junction. Yep, there we go. Oh, I am going to have... There's the last of my cable. Obviously, they're not connected to one another yet, but that's a problem for once I have more copper. I think I was low on copper, right? Yeah, my copper's pretty low. Let's get some cables. And we're going to arc furnace up some copper. That is arguably a fairly hideous base. I do plan on prettyifying it once I add some utility, but utility comes first. All right. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to start to shut everything down. That's about all the time I have. So what I did this episode was basically lay out some frames. I guess I'll save power. So now I'll do a quick run through. Like I said before, we have this weird sort of hole all the way into the middle of the base for aesthetics. If you dislike it, maybe I can fix it in the future. If you like it, I think it can add something, right? We didn't end up wiring up our elevator, but you know what? I think I'm gonna go over time a little bit and do it, just to be friendly. So what we're gonna do is run cables up. Mostly they're gonna be straights and junctions, like this. And I'm certainly gonna run out of cables, so I'll go print up some more. And we'll have our maiden elevator voyage this episode, so at least I could say I did something that you all probably wanted to see. So this isn't going to be a junction, this will be a corner. And I'm going to break my cardinal rule and embed some cabling into walls and stuff. This is going to be another junction, but facing the other way, like this. We'll run power out to that APC that we made, that power controller. And let's go and crank out some more cabling. I'm moving around real fast because I would like to end this on a positive note of, hey, look, I actually created an elevator system. Elevator systems, as I mentioned, are pretty simple. So you really just have to wire it all up together. That's about all you get to do. Which is pretty... It's like the only thing that's kind of easy to do in this game. Everything else is complex, convoluted. So take your wins where you can. Alright, wiring it all up is, like I said, very simple. And then we just need to run power to it. So I'm going to run power basically through this frame like this. And I know that I'm currently manufacturing cabling over there, but honestly, given what I'm about to do, we're going to need a lot of it. So I'm okay with that. Alright, and in the interest of symmetry, we will hook this up. Come on, there we go. Like that. So now they can be powered up. And I suppose what I could do is run my power out like this. And now we'll just have to get a few more cables. We're almost done. Unfortunately, it's becoming nighttime, so despite having an elevator, it's certainly not going to be much of a view. But I don't really control the day-night cycle, so it's not my problem. Not my fault, is what I should say. It is kind of my problem, but not my fault. Alright, and we will run the cables on the other side just to make it look nice and symmetrical. Serves no purpose. None whatsoever. But there we go. And yeah. At this point, the elevator should be functional. Oh, you know what? It isn't yet, because we haven't flipped the switch here. Now, elevators, oddly enough, don't require that much power. Don't ask me why. But all you gotta do to call the elevator is hit this button. All you gotta do to switch floors is to hit the up. And it automatically realizes on the level types of elevators, there's, you know, levels and shafts. And we can go to the second and fourth floor. So the fourth floor being our farm, the second floor being our lounge, and the first floor being our atmospherics. And this is the rate that an elevator moves at. They are not airtight, but of course, for most of the elevator, as you can see here, it's going to be windowed off. So the elevator will actually help to move air around the base. You know what I could do is I could leave the whole of the base here open and protect it from the atmosphere, and that will help to normalize pressure around the base too. Well guys, like I said, that's all the time I have. I'm glad that I ended on a little bit of an elevator tour. I'm obviously going to have to do the rest of the integrated circuitry next episode. It might be a little complex, might even blow your mind, but I will do my best to try to explain what I'm doing. If you have any questions for me or feedback of any type, drop me a line, and I do hope that you tune in next time and are enjoying this series. Thank you all for watching. Adios.